Hello everyone, welcome back to Dungeons & Dragons episode 5. We're very glad to be back. In fact, there'll be episodes on back-to-back weeks before we take a little bit of a Christmas break, so you'll have an episode next week as well, which we're looking forward to. But today it is episode 5. Now, John's ladder, beautifully visible. Just thought I'd check that quickly before we get into things. However, you may remember that the party had just been not ordered, but subtly ordered to Sunblight Fortress to check out the supposed Chardalyn dragon and confirm its existence before returning to East Haven so that the speakers of East Haven can prepare a more appropriate response now that they have conclusive proof. However, for now, the party do need to go and gain that proof themselves. So the party is readying themselves to travel through the frozen tundra to Sunblight Fortress, which is just on the edge of the spine of the world, the huge range of mountains that cuts Icewind Dale off from the rest of Faerun. Now, the party were about to get ready and head out of the south gate of East Haven. However, a huge blizzard was kicking up. So instead, the party decided to return home to the White Lady Inn where they've been staying. And we're actually going to start at night with the party all asleep, tucked away in the White Lady Inn, mentally preparing themselves for Duragar murder. No, for the trials that will be coming undeniably in the next couple of days. So, with the party all tucked away at sleep, you're all having a bit of a fitful rest. However, one of you, more so than the others, Izar, your dreams, usually rather prideful imaginations of riches and prowess to come, are instead beset upon by images of the fragment of smooth black stone jutting out of the snow that was burned into your mind in the day prior. Every time your mind drifts to another thought, your dream is suddenly torn back to the image of the strange structure. The image seems to warp and distort, showing you architecture unlike any you've ever seen. A spire shaped like a blade on a great dark tower, stretching into the night sky over the dale. You awaken, sweaty and confused, with the wizard's face still on the inside of your eyelids. A handsome young man wearing a frayed wizard's hat. The image fades just as flames flicker into frame, and a faint smile forms at the edge of his lips. As for the rest of you, you all awaken in the morning in far less tumultuous fashion, and you find yourselves drawn together downstairs, hauling on heavy furs and packs in order to manage the journey ahead of you. So, Eddie, what are you doing?
Slept pretty well there. Anybody else? I have never slept better, I don't think.
Anybody have any weird dreams?
No. Nothing
Not
out of
any
the ordinary.
more weird than normal.
Okay, cool. I just wondered.
Why do you ask?
Yeah, no reason. I just like to check in from time to time. You know, I have some dreams about my demon father.
Excuse me, what?
What?
Yeah. I told you all about this before.
I don't recall.
I think
Remind
you've been
us,
pretty vague about it.
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes he talks to me and tells me some things. It's fine. It's just fine. It's fine.
Your demon father.
He's not my dad.
Oh, he's not your real
He's not
dad.
a demon. He's not a demon.
Oh.
No, devil.
He's okay.
It's the whole
Not
fit,
better.
the whole reason like I'm here and stuff. That yeah. So what are we having for breakfast? Yeah.
Probably roast, if I had to hazard a guess.
The rather gaunt-looking barman looks up at you and goes, "Leftovers of last night's roast on the trays."
Thank you.
Can we go ahead and make this taste like something sweeter than roast with my prestidigitation? You know, the best spell ever.
Something sweeter than roast. All right, you eat it and it tastes like a sweet roast dinner.
Candy roast, yeah.
Like pork covered in what do you normally cover pork in?
Like honey?
Ooh,
glazed?
honey glazed.
Apple
Yeah, that's
Honey
what
glazed applesauce, something like that. No.
Apparently John covers his pork in applesauce, I heard.
I am not the only
Yeah,
person.
but John, I think you need to understand the meaning of the word cover.
All right,
He
sorry.
just puts it in a big bathtub.
I just eat applesauce. It's got pork bits in it. No.
Grim.
I'm gonna cough a little bit, and you see me twiddling with like a shiny object, and I'm just staring at it, and it looks like some sort of coin. I'm gonna flick it up, and I'm gonna catch it midair, and then I'm actually gonna stand up from the table. And I'm gonna like turn to face everyone.
You okay
So-
there, Darmok?
While
I've
Darmok-
decided.
Sorry, I was going to say, I posted an image for you all of what the coin Darmok is playing with looks like.
Perfect.
Big fan.
Thank
Oh,
you.
nice.
I've decided. We are going into a possibly very dangerous area, and I may not come back alive. All my life, my family has told me I had to live up to this Neuroxus family name and bring honor to my clan. The family of warriors responsible for his actions, and he is responsible for theirs. Yada, yada, yada. Hell, I didn't even want to be a paladin, but I'm here up in this freezing cold and looking for some dumb fish.
So funny.
I'm
The
gonna
fish will
show-
remember that.
I show the coin that I was playing with to the party. This coin was the first gold I ever won in a bet. Despite ending up in this awful place, I truly believe Lady Luck herself blessed me this day to meet all of you. They say friends of the family you get to choose, and well, you are all the closest to friends I've ever had, to be honest. So from this day on, I, Darmok Neuroxus, will be your shield. I promise to fight alongside you, and together not only will we defeat this Duragar, but we will find and slay this Frost Maiden, and we'll claim all the glory for saving the Dale for ourselves. This I promise you, my friends.
At the conclusion of Darmok's speech, you hear a slow but earnest clapping coming from near a door at the back of the room. As Ronaldo, the bard who held the seance with you, emerges, he goes, My, that was awfully riveting for this time in the morning. But truly, I do congratulate you. It must be girding to know you walk with one so blessed, clearly. And he sort of eyes around the rest of the party.
I'm going to utilize prestidigitation and thaumaturgy to make a very small sparky light show of fireworks.
Nice.
Is it a sarcastically small sparky light show of fireworks or a
No,
well-intentioned one?
it's in one hand and the other hand's a thumbs up. You go, Darmok.
Well,
These are.
Darmok, that's a very nice thought, and it's good to know that you've got such confidence in us, in our party, and I can only promise you all that I will do my best to keep you all alive, so that we can return in one piece and not be a dragon's dinner.
We will be victorious.
Have faith.
I'm. There are so many questions for so many of us that I just don't know where to start. So I'm just not going to start because there's some crazy demon daddy. There's some coin flipping dragonborn. There's some old woman, young woman, crazy Fletch knows everybody but not. And then I don't know where Dorothea went when we first came back, but there's lots of stuff that we just don't know. Right, chat?
Chat, this guy
is-
thinks he's on Twitch. Who is this guy?
Hey.
That is a good point. If we are going to something so dangerous, would you like to spend some time before we head out to hear each and every story?
At this point,
Spoil the whole episode.
leaning on the back wall, Ronaldo steps forward, and you see now that he's holding what appears to be kind of like a cloth swathe wrapped around two solid-looking round objects, and he goes, I wouldn't want to infringe any more. I merely heard that, well, with such lofty promises being made, albeit ones that I would love to see fulfilled, I thought I would do what I can to help. I'm afraid it's time I moved on from this place, but I'm sure we'll all meet again, won't we? Anyway, perhaps a bit of help in the darkness to come. And he places down the cloth bundle on the, just one of like the, like the high up bar tables, sort of in the midst of you all. And he goes, these should prove useful. I've simply set their word to just be light. If you say that, they should work. And he pulls back the heavy cloth covering them. And you see that there are two very beautiful drift globes. I'd say that you all kind of recognize what these are. Most of you have some arcane background, and they're not exceedingly rare arcane artifacts. They're in fact very, very useful and very highly sought after. But there's 2 drift globes here. These are very beautifully made. They're made of a dark green stone, actually inlaid with golden designs in swirls and all sorts of runic patterns. And he goes, yes, well, if you just go like this, light. And he sort of commands it towards the table, and they start to emit a soft hum, and the light does spill out from them in a warming glow. He goes, I imagine these should be rather useful. Don't worry about payment or anything like that. Like I say, it's what you're going to do. From what I've gleaned, sounds as though I might be in my own best interests anyway. Anyway, well, I must continue preparing to leave. I'm sure, like I say, we shall meet again. With this, he turns on his heel and begins walking back towards the back room.
Safe travels.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Well, Darmok, if you all must know, if you want to have deep, meaningful conversations before we all walk off to our deaths, hopefully not, but, you know, chances are we are. Where I went the first time that we were paid for a job, I went to go and stash away the earnings into my little, call it, I don't know, my little bank account. Although nobody knows about it, now you know about it. So if any of you steal it from me, I'm going to find you and shiv you. So, fair warning. But if I were to die in the coming adventures, I ask you that you take that money and split it amongst yourselves and take the maps that's hidden beneath my workshop floor underneath the rug and see if you can find my son.
Ooh.
You have a son.
I do. I hope I still have a son. When I first moved to the 10 Towns, we got stuck in a blizzard and I lost him. I was foolish and reckless. I wanted to get away from where I was, and I still believe that he's out there somewhere. His name's Barnaby, and it's been a few years now, but I don't know. I just got this feeling he's still out there, so if y'all looking for some work and need something to do, maybe you can find the poor lady's son.
How old is your son?
He was 13 when I lost him.
So he would be an older teenager at this point.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm doing. That's why I do what I do. Just trying to finance my search for him and see if I can find him.
Is that what you were going to ask the white lady?
Yeah, if he was still alive.
I deeply apologize for not letting you get that chance.
It's okay. Maybe we'll find another chance. But thank you.
Wow.
Anyway, that's my story.
I'm stunned.
Does anyone else want to share theirs, or?
Well, seeing as Eddie brought it up, I will explain a little bit about the woman that we met with when I first met all of you. I'm part of I don't want to say secret organization because that makes it sound much more affluent than it actually is. It's basically me and a few of my mates are part of a group called the Harpers, and we work to thwart
Kat and Justin, make me a history check each.
Ooh.
The Harpers.
5.
Jeez.
Sorry, Justin, what did you roll?
I rolled a 4.
Oh, 5 and a 4.
History. Boop.
Oh no, sorry, it was just because of their backgrounds.
Oh, whoopsie.
Just
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well,
Just Kat and
I rolled
Justin.
terribly.
Okay, doesn't matter anyway then. Yeah, okay, never mind.
Okay.
Never mind. Continue.
So yeah, we work to thwart the actions of two groups in the Dial. the Arcane Brotherhood and the Zentarum.
Is that why you didn't go to the other ship?
Yes. I'd rather not deal with them face to face.
You seem so. How do I phrase this?
Genteel.
No. Power
Someone else
forward.
knows.
Let's say. You seem to. I'm not saying that not dealing with the boat was cowardly. It didn't seem like something that you would. It seemed like from everything else I know, you would like want to go towards the. You know what? Ignore me. I'm just gonna shut up.
Oh, I understand what you're saying is primarily we deal with information and espionage more than direct confrontation. We seek to learn things and hopefully pass that information on to people who can do something about it.
I did not realize that someone of your stature would be involved in espionage.
I understand, and all the more reason that in some ways I'm the perfect man for the job.
Hide in plain sight.
Exactly.
All right, well, seeing as
Wow.
we're all sharing, Izar, anything you want to share with us?
I mean, I thought all right, so my mother and grandmother told me that I'm the first male born of the line, and this includes all of the branches of my family. There are some males, however, those take on the characteristics of their father. So I have a half-human cousin. I have a nephew who is half elvish, and those are both males. But they don't look like me. They don't look like their mothers. Apparently, this makes me important. Or at least that's what they told me. So they took away a lot of my money and told me to come up here and do something. They essentially told me that I was part of some sort of prophecy that would get them out of the curse. The curse being, of course, that they can't make any other males. And apparently, if I fail, the family is going to be doomed to never make another male. Which matters to them for some reason. I don't know. But the deal, in order to get the wealth and power that they have now, apparently was struck a long time ago with the devil in the Nine Hells. They haven't told me any extra information. And sometimes when I dream, he talks to me. I can't see his face. He's shrouded in darkness, even though there's fire like all around us. And the other night, I don't know if any of you noticed this, but my once beautifully uncut red tourmaline has now been shaped into an amulet that the devil guy kind of just tossed at me, and he laughed. He laughed when he did it. I hate this guy so much. Okay, so he laughed when he did it, and he told me I'm not as important as I think I am, and that I only have a part to play. It was a blow to the ego, but apparently this amulet gives me protection because I do have a part to play, so I need to make sure I don't, kick the bucket. But he laughed at me. So rude. Regardless, I'm just here to fulfill this stupid prophecy because when I do, and when I come back, I get a large reward.
Your inheritance.
Let's go with that.
Does it? Okay, so it's more important than just money or wealth? Or-
Not for me.
No,
I don't live in the Dale.
That's it. Yeah,
So it's just okay. So
that's
it's
it. Yeah.
all right.
I don't live here. It's cold here. I don't like it. The people here are country bumpkins who have no idea what good trade is like. And it's so uncomfortable. All these warm clothes are itchy, even though there's the best thing money could buy in this godforsaken hellhole. I just don't like it here. You guys have been okay. Especially you, Dharma. You're cool. But it's so drab here. You don't... I mean, the snow is nice, but there's so many sights back home. I just kind of want to get done so I can go back to my friends. Although, I guess I'll call you guys friends for now.
for now.
For
Did
now.
did that devil have a name, or is it? You
My
don't know.
mother and grandmother did not tell me. He has not told me. He's been an a-hole.
That's just rude. Come on, I haven't been that bad.
He's mean to me. It's like
He's a bully.
He's on.
I mean, I get he's a devil, but like, I don't know. Like, I guess technically he's family, sort of, kind of. I don't know.
Don't know what that means, but
I can't even trust my mother anymore. They told me that I was like the chosen one, but then the devil laughed at me. I don't know.
What
I don't know
power
where I
do they
stand.
have over you here now? If you think about it, you can do your
Oh,
own
yeah.
thing.
If I go back without completing the task, I get nothing. They take all of my holdings, everything I own. They essentially strip my last name from me, giving me no more power socially, and I essentially become destitute and live off the street.
as someone who doesn't have a last name, it's okay.
What is your last name?
I don't have one.
Soul, sorry, Soul.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
I said Char for some reason.
I don't know. If I were you, I'd say screw it, screw you. Be your own man. Make your own way in the world.
I'm with Dorothy on that, Izar, because have you worried that this prophecy you're doing is furthering the aims of some creature from the Nine Hells?
Well, from what my mother has told me, which I said I can't really trust necessarily, this essentially just fulfills something that the demon wants to do, or the devil wants to do.
That's
But
what
like
I'm saying.
but
That can't be
they-
good for people in the world.
It should be. My assumption is that the devil just wants more warm places, and this place is too cold. Look, at the end of the day, even if technically we're helping some sort of devil, we're also going to be helping the people of Icewind Dale. So, like, it's fine. Also, for what it's worth, the fact that I would lose all of my holdings and stuff isn't the only thing. I'm sure this devil would still be very mean to me, and I would like to get this devil off of my tail. I would like him to leave my dreams alone.
Fair.
That's fair.
Well, if that's the case, shall we get going? Get this
Ah.
on the road.
After we hear more about you.
Damn.
Can you please just explain what the Dark Dungeon is?
Deception 100.
Got 'em, boys. Yeah, maybe the word fisherman may not have been the most accurate statement. I did start when before I came to the Dale as a fisherman, and I've always wanted to be a privateer. So for quite a while, when I finally got the chance, I was a privateer running up and down the coast. Unfortunately, my captain at the time decided that this really nice, low-lying ship looked like a good time to get a little bit more money off the top, if you know what I mean. We attacked the ship, and it didn't go well. My captain was basically told to disband the crew, do anything he can, and that's why I'm here. I was disbanded to Icewind Dale, never come back, you're gone, goodbye. Unfortunately, because I really did enjoy it. Now I'm just kind of stuck on land and it's not so fun. However, as Fletch loves to bring up, I do have a connection to the Dark Duchess. It was one of the first ships I actually sailed on when I came to the Dale. So it is out there. Let's just say that.
Wait, does that make you a failed pirate then? Is that why you're
Yes.
okay?
In a way, and I can't say that I feel much pride with being a failed anything. Darmok.
It's okay. Well,
If we die, we're all failures.
There you go.
we will succeed.
Unless we die in spectacular fashion and Ronaldo can sing songs about us.
Fingers crossed. That'd be cool.
Songs are not as good as being alive, I've found.
Also true.
Well, being dead's not that bad either.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain that my soul is tied to the Nine Hells. I would like to not go there.
Yeah, you might be a bit screwed.
The
Based
best I
on
can
some
hope for
of
is
the stuff.
going to Mechanus or something. Even then, I'll be turned into like some sort of ugly robot.
Based on some of the things I've done, I probably will join you. So I know it's weird to say in front of a paladin and a cleric, but you know, just don't worry about it.
No, none of us are truly innocent, so.
No. I mean, so for me, you've heard most of my story from kind of in the speech, but I grew up in a very, very prestigious family clan, and I never really fit in. I have a younger sister who was always better, more perfect in the eyes of my family, and well, as you know, I like to gamble. I like to have a nice drink every once in a while, and eventually my grandmother had enough of me stumbling home at night, and here I am. However, I was told that I would get my inheritance if I found this fish, but how things have gone here, I think I'm happier just being around you guys. And I wouldn't, unlike Izar, I might not head back.
So what you're saying is if I find the fish.
What is the deal with this fish? I don't understand.
Oh, well, there was a fish that bit off one of my father's fingers somehow. There was a long fishing accident, and stole a family seal, a ring that he had on that had our family clan. It's passed down through generations, and if I don't find it, it cannot be given to me, and as tradition, I cannot claim as the next head of the family.
But it's your father's fault for losing the frickin' finger to a fish in the first place.
Correct, except with all of they thought sending me up here would toughen me up, and I would be a more honorable member of the family.
I don't know
So,
about that. I
you and
think
me-
you're plenty honorable. You just like a little bit of fun on the side, even though it's terrible for your financial situation and well-being overall. But you know what? Who am I to judge?
Yeah, I was a little confused when you pulled out any gold at all. I was like, wait a second. You don't have any.
No,
We are two
this-
peas in a pod. We are both suffering for the sins of our, well, in your case, father, and in my case,
Fathers.
countless mothers.
This coin to me is very precious. It if you see, it has the face of Timora, Lady Luck herself, which is my goddess. And the only thing that I truly believe in is the luck of this world. So
when you all look at the coin, it is immediately obvious to you. I wouldn't say that you really need a check to see this, that even to those of you who, have been around other parts of the world, maybe been to Waterdeep, Baldur's, etc., you've never seen a coin like this before, even though Darmok claims to have simply won it and no special circumstance. You've never seen a coin like this. It's very unusual. It's clearly a very old printing, but it looks almost pristine, and you have no idea where it'd be from if she hadn't told you.
this is the only thing that I have never bet. Even penniless, I'd keep it with me at all times.
Smart to not technically be penniless.
Silverless is fine. Give me a couple coppers and we can make it work.
Oh. Seems like we know each other pretty well now. We've been traveling for what, 4 days, 3 days, and
It's been about a week at this point, actually, with Russ.
a week, and we finally started to get to know each other. That's kind of cool. But we still have a job to do.
I would say at this point, I would assume you would have all remained fairly busy throughout chatting. I would say that you've kind of donned your equipment and your gear, and it's actually starting to get very hot because you're inside in all of this stuff. So you do look outside as you begin to head out, and you do see that there are traitorous winds beginning to howl through East Haven, perhaps foretelling of another blizzard, but it's up to you guys what you choose to do.
No
don't
time like the
think
present.
we
I
can
say
wait.
I say we face it.
Agreed.
We head out.
This weather is shite irrespective, so let's go.
If I can harken back to Darmok 3 episodes ago, the cold never bothered me anyway.
Never both.
Bothers me every day, but
Yeah.
I'm
Took off
here
the shoe.
anyway.
You took off a shoe. That's
I
true.
took off the shoe. I was ready.
All right, so you guys have the location of Sunblight Fortress marked on your maps. It's a fairly evident pathway how to get there. Is there anything that you guys would like to do before departing East Haven? Anything at all? If you have any
We have
requests?
potions. I don't know if we do.
I do.
You
I
do?
don't.
Do I?
I have one. I got it off that guy when I took the flail.
Oh yeah.
It's not the
is
potions
there
she's talking about.
Is there a apothecary or something?
I would say you would assume with the inclement weather that is currently kicking up that most buildings and stores would kind of be boarded up, secured, essentially.
Okay. All right. So
All right,
yellow.
the DN doesn't let us put any friggin' packs ready. All right, let's just go then.
No potions for you.
I would like to buy your finest magic items that a small amount of gold can buy. Oh, nothing? Cool.
Eddie just wants a shopping episode.
Shopping episode. They're my favorite.
John is gunning for a shopping episode. And he
I
he
still
has
want the
no
beach
idea
episode.
how hard it's going to hit him one day.
Oh, yikes.
All right. Anyway, so you guys are just heading out south of East Haven, making your way out into the tundra. And yeah, immediately once you guys are clear of the town's kind of natural shelter that's built in by the buildings and the walls, the icy winds and the unforgiving environment really, really hit you, essentially. It is very, very hostile out here. It's by no means a forgiving landscape at the best of times, but in the kind of eternal gloom and howling winds that Oral has brought to the realm, it is decidedly dangerous out here. Are you guys heading in a straight line towards Sunblight, I would assume, kicking it south through the tundra?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so as you guys are making your way along, is there anything that you would like to do on the journey, or are you happy for me to kind of just progress time?
That's
Let's
it.
Progress
progress.
time.
Yeah.
Welcome to D&D, when a 6-hour travel takes 6 seconds and a 6-second attack takes 6 hours.
Oh, but next campaign, we will be doing everything in real time. So
Oh,
look forward to
Oh,
that.
gosh.
It's
Everyone
2
get your
days to
hands ready to do
Sunblight, by the
this.
way. So welcome to the next 40 episodes. Yeah, okay, so you guys make your way through the tundra. The blizzard does kick up a little bit. Nothing is too crazy. However, it does stay at kind of a medium level. Nothing like the squall that surrounded you before you met with the goblins. You make your way through the tundra for the remainder of the day. It's a long, arduous journey. You take a few short breaks here and there, consume some of your rations, and, rest. Those amongst you who are less used to the physical exertion, like Izar, need a little bit more time to recuperate and rest, but everything seems to go relatively swimmingly. You do see an odd polar bear or two in the distance, but they seem largely uninterested in you, and really, the journey passes about as incidentless as you could hope for. As the light begins to die down, you make the decision to camp. So I'll point out on the maps for you all where you are, for those of you just listening at home. They are approximately halfway to the border of the spine of the world. If you see where I'm pinging on the map, you're around about there right now. You decide to just, instead of face that large hill and gentle decline in front of you, you decide to make camp for the night here. You're in a nice open area where there doesn't seem to be any chance of too easy an ambush, etc., from nearby cliffs. So you begin unpacking your camp as the light dies down, setting up tents, and generally beginning to recuperate. You get a campfire going, and even though the blizzards obviously make this a little bit difficult, you do manage to in the end. There's no need to roll for anything. So as you're all sitting around the campfire, fairly quietly, because of course this is a arduous, long journey, and any small talk has been long exhausted at this point, you do notice that there is a group of figures slowly approaching you from the south. They have some distance away at the moment, so you guys are free to do whatever you want. I would say that at this range, you can see that these are fairly large figures, akin to Fletch, it would be fair to say. And they are walking, 4 of them in single file, just trudging through the snow. They do appear to be heading towards you, though, more or less. Is there anything you guys would like to do?
Do we think these could be Yetis? They look
Or
fairly
Goliath, if
big?
this is.
How
Why
far
I-
are they?
It's hard to tell because of the snow blindness, essentially. But you would guess that they're probably a few hundred meters out. But again, with the visibility impairment, They could be a mile away. They could be 100 meters in front of you.
Well, let's hope that they veer off, because I don't feel like getting into a fight now. I'm knackered.
I mean, we might not have a choice. I'm not saying be aggressive to them, but
I'd be
prepared.
potentially try and scare them off.
With your big booming voice thing.
Possibly,
that
like,
could
just do
anger
growly
them.
things. That's why I said possibly. I'm not sure.
I don't think we should have the large voice with all of the snow. Let's not start a avalanche.
I think we just stand ready. They could just be travelers, you know, seen our campfire looking for shelter.
Craig, why don't you make me a history check?
They are definitely not. They're going to kill you.
15.
Okay, 15. Yeah, that's good enough, especially given your origins. You would know that in this area of the Dale, there are 2 clans of Goliath that tend to travel and hunt and live off of these lands where you are. And those 2 tribes, neither of them are very, very hostile, which is a relief when you remember that. But the 2 tribes are the Akanathes, who are from Sky Tower Shelter, and that is off to the east of where you are at the moment. It would be fairly far for them to have come, but it's by all means possible. The Akanathes are somewhat of an isolated clan. They don't really deal with outsiders too much. And the other possibility in this area is slightly further to the east, and that would be from Wormdoom Crag, who would be the Thunlakalagas, which is a great name. The Boom Shakalakas from Wormdoom Crag, not crab. And you know that the Thunlakalagas are actually more open to outsiders. They're more friendly. They're more of a trading clan. You might have had dealings and seen them yourself when you were younger. But generally speaking, you would know that the 2 possibilities, both very unlikely to be, very unlikely for them to run and attack you unless they are in desperate measures, essentially.
Okay. I'll just relay that
Yeah,
to the
sure,
party.
of course. You relay it to the party.
Right, so nothing to worry about then?
No, if we greet them cordially, we should be fine.
They're probably going to wonder what the hell we're doing out here.
All right. So are you just waiting for them essentially to greet them?
Yep.
Okay. So the figures make their way through the snow, and after what seems like an eternity, but it's probably only 5 or 10 minutes, these guys make their way into your direct field of vision through the walls of ice and snow hurtling around. Now, Craig, because I said that your history check was pretty good, you do recognize from these guys' markings and from how they're dressed that these guys are indeed from Wormdoom Crag, the friendlier clan, if you like. So as they approach closer to you, you see that this is undeniably a hunting party. There are 4 members in it, 2 of them armed with large bows, and then the other 2 wield melee weapons. Interestingly enough, one of the members with a great axe actually has the left sleeve of his kind of fleeced jacket pinned up, indicating that he may only have 1 arm, but he still holds a giant great axe across his broad shoulders with the other one. They slowly approach you until one at the front slings his bow back over his shoulder and he goes, "Hail, friends?"
Friends.
Greetings, travelers.
Wonderful. We are sorry to hassle you as such, but we return from a long trip into the spine of the world. We are short on ration and even shorter on heat. May we join you for a moment?
Please do.
Yeah, thank you. And with this, he turns around and kind of gestures to the few behind him, and they pick up the pace a little bit, kind of shuffling towards your lit campfire, and you can see them all laying their weapons down beside them and reaching out with hands towards the campfire and just generally seem to be unburdening themselves of the huge amount of fatigue they seem to be carrying along with them.
Oh, get yourselves comfy. Here, have a little bit of something to eat. I'll offer them some of my rations.
With this, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, you say you came from the spine of the world, is it?
With this, the one who's speaking to you, you notice now that he has far more intricate body markings than a lot of the other few members of his group. He seems to have almost like runes covering the entirety of his face, written out in very, very delicate, very beautiful artistry. And he looks towards you and goes, "Yes, we return from Spine of the World. We seek a friend of ours. He was lost to us some days ago. Sadly, we found nothing. However, we thank you for your hospitality. With this, he takes the rations that you're holding towards them and goes and shares them among the others. When he turns back around, he looks at you, Dorothy, and he goes, I am Word Painter, and these are my friends. Twisted Limb, and he gestures towards the Goliath with one arm wielding the axe. He goes, Bear Killer and Dawn Caller, as he goes through each one. Dawn Caller is the other one with the bow. Bear Killer and Twisted Limb both carry the axes.
These are such cool names.
Because without you, I fear if we would have made it back to Wormdoom Crag at all. We have altered plans to make for East Haven, but even that may have been out of our reach.
Well, with this, you should be able to make it. The blizzard is picking up a little bit, but it hasn't been so bad for the day's travel that we've just done.
And he seems to nod towards you, Darmok, and he goes, yes. If you find any remnants or, well, God's willing, our friend alive, he was hunting south of here, nearly direct south. We do not know what happened. He left a week before we did. We only realized something was wrong a few days ago. There are no signs. It's as though he vanished. It's most unlike him.
How far south did you get exactly?
Well, I don't have a map on me. We know these lands so well. But
I have a map.
I
would like to show them the map.
Sure, you unfurl the map on kind of one of, the backs of one of your tents after sweeping some snow off of it. And he looks over towards it and he goes, yes. He looks around for a moment, and even in this sort of, like blinded by Blizzard's conditions, he goes, yes, I would say we are here. And he taps his finger with exact approximation on where you figure you are from following the map. And he goes, I feel as though we are here. That would mean we traveled around about this area. And he pings where I'm pinging with his finger. He goes, yes, there are many dangers in the spine, but none of them should have been enough to fell our friend. I fear foul play, but it is not your problem.
What is your friend's name?
My friend's name is... When I open my notes, I'll tell you. Excellent.
Scared Hunter.
No, my friend's name is Fearless.
Oh, good.
A mighty name indeed.
Indeed. Unfortunately, it was given to him as much through hubris as virtue. He would never back down from a fight. I fear that may have cost him his life, or at least cost him dearly.
How long were you
Go for it.
in that southern area? Were you there long?
3 days.
Well, we were actually heading, and I'm just going to point on the map to exactly like where we're heading.
When you point to exactly where you're heading, his brow furrows. You can only see sort of, a top section of his face, but even then you notice the direct concern in his face, and he goes, be wary. What reason do you have to travel there?
Dragons.
We have a job to do.
Eddie, do you
Would
actually
you
say dragons to
Did
him?
you actually say dragons?
I mean, I said dragons.
All right, so with this, he cocks an eyebrow towards you, Ed, and he goes, One of your kind is most unusual in the Dale, so I shall chalk that up to perhaps a foolish joke. But be wary in this area. Sorry, Izar, what was your reason? What did you say to him?
I said we have a job to do.
He goes, Well, you have helped us, so I will tell you. Perhaps no job is worth tarrying too long around that dark place. Those who dwell under make it their lair. They tend to stay away from us, but we have had trouble with them in the past.
Well, we know full well about the Duragar. Assuming that's who you're talking about. So if there's something else that we have to look forward to, then shite.
With this, he looks towards you, Fletch, and the figure says, repeating the word Duragar from Dorothea, he goes, is this their name for those who dwell under?
Yes,
Yeah, you
yes,
know strange dark dwarves.
Yes.
He goes, he looks back towards the group, he goes, Well, they live in a fortress hewn from the land itself. Whatever job you have, make sure you are most prepared.
If your friend may have been captured by these Doragor, if we do find him, you said that you were staying at in Brenchender?
No,
Easthaven.
we're making for Easthaven.
Easthaven.
But we are from Wormdoom Crag and will return there as soon as possible. I would not recommend you make the journey alone. Even for us, it is arduous. However, you think that the Dark Dwarves would dare to kidnap one of us? Have they really become so brazen?
They
Well-
become quite brazen for other reasons. Let's just say that.
They seem to be working on something, and if your friend may have stumbled upon it, it wouldn't surprise me if they either took him or killed him on the spot.
Have you heard of a metal such as this? I'm gonna show my Chartolin amulet.
So are you showing him the amulet?
The Chartolin one, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That we got
so-
from the.
Okay. I was just making sure that you're like clearly showing him it. Not okay, cool. Yeah. So he goes. Yes, there are many tales about the nature of such a thing. You would do best to rid yourself of it. Cast it down here without delay. No price you fetch at any city jewelers will be worth the price you pay for carrying such a thing.
Do you know if your friend may have been carrying some? Back,
No, none of us would touch such a foul substance. However, you say they are working on something and they have become brazen towards you. Forgive me for the assumptions. I take it you are from 10 towns.
You'd be correct.
Yes.
Them to be attacking 10 towns is as strange as for them to attack us. Perhaps they were involved in taking Fearless.
It would likely be so, especially considering the proximity of where your friend went missing. What would you say to joining us? To have another look for your friend and to help us determine if what we believe to be true actually is.
With this, you see what appears to almost be a glint of mirth, of almost like joyful respect and acknowledgement in the eyes of the Goliath, and he goes, well, that is a suggestion I like the sound of. However, unfortunately, practicalities arise. We barely have enough food for us all to make it back to Easthaven. And even your food wouldn't support all 8 of us. 9 of us, forgive me. There and back. He seems to be thinking, he goes, give me a moment. With this, he turns around and heads back to the other 3 Goliath, warming their hands on the campfire. And you're left alone for a moment, if there's anything you wish to discuss.
I mean, if they came with us, it'd be really, really reassuring to have a bit of muscle, would you say?
Having
Aye.
even one of them would be a great assistance.
And they know the area. So maybe just one of them if the others need to go.
We
I
can
chuckle
try.
to myself and go, hey, maybe we can trade them for Fletch.
You want to trade one big guy for another? What's that going to do?
I will not trade a friend.
I
Well,
slap
thank you.
Fletch on the back.
Hey, who knows? Maybe it's Lady Luck shining down on us.
And with this, you see Word Painter turn back around and head towards you with one of his companions in tow. The one that he referred to as Twisted Limb. The Goliath with one arm wielding a huge great axe over his shoulders. And Word Painter goes, this is Twisted Limb. He is the greatest among us. I offered my men the choice. I was not about to command others to such a dangerous mission. I myself, I am afraid I must lead the others back. But Twisted Limb has offered to join your party, taking what rations the 3 of us can spare. We can make it back to Easthaven with very little else. It should be enough for him to sustain himself on the trip. Of course, You needn't take him, should you wish to remain secretive about what it is you're doing. But he has offered. And with this, even for a Goliath, towering figure of Twisted Limb sort of gives a grunt and nods his head towards you.
Frankly, because this seems to affect the entirety of the Dale, I say it doesn't really matter if we try to keep it secret. It's important for people to know.
More the merrier.
Yeah, the more the merrier, and we're happy to share what information we have if you are happy to come with us.
With this, Twisted Limb sort of heaves his great axe off his shoulders and lets the bladed end of it drop down into the snow. And leaning on it, he looks around, he looks down at you all, even you, Fletch. This man is a head's height above you. And he simply goes, I ask but one thing. What do we go to kill?
A dragon.
You got all mad at
Duragar
me when I
king.
said it.
We are going
Pretty
to
sure
kill.
it's not a real dragon.
It's
soon
not
as you
a real dragon, but it's made from...
We don't know if it's even finished.
We don't know if it's real, but we're going to find out.
We're going to kill the king.
Oh,
Well, our mission is to just verify if this
true.
thing actually exists.
yes.
We're not killing anything just yet.
Yes.
We'll probably end up killing something.
With this, Twisted Limb seems to kind of look a little confused after you said all the stuff after saying dragon. And he goes, You speak in uncertain terms of dragons, whereas I may speak in very certain ones. And with this, he sort of roughly grabs with his hand, he grabs the folded up sleeve. He goes, We do well together. And with this, he goes back and sits down at the camp to rest.
Great.
Okay.
Welcome aboard.
Could I ask Word Painter?
Yep.
If he's still around.
Yeah, of course they are, yeah.
Would it be possible for you to mark your home on this map? Not that I don't think Twisted Limb could get home, but just so that we have a kind of idea of if we ever did need to get there and get separated, we'd know where to go.
Roll a persuasion check, Eddie.
Go! Fuck!
Wow, good
I
job.
rolled a 4.
With a 4, he goes, I do not mean insult, but the location of our home is one we guard with great secret. Twisted Limb will know the way when you have concluded your business. Perhaps after he has assessed your worth, he will let you know its location.
Fair.
Fair.
Fair enough.
I agree to those terms, but if anything were to happen to Twisted Limb, can we at least know a general area so that we know which direction to head in?
Why would you need to head to us if anything happened to Twisted Limb?
Well, if we find your friend and he's injured.
I see. Our friend also knows the location of our home. So, if he is incapacitated as such, though, I would imagine he would appreciate it if you took him to care in East Haven, perhaps.
Understood.
We can do that.
Forgive me for being so secretive. It's simply a long-standing tradition that I would be ill-fated were I to break. It is no insult to you all, believe me.
It's completely understandable.
We
But
all
I
have
hope to
our
see you
secrets.
and Twisted Limb in our home one day. Should you see this venture through, and that is a big should, then you would be welcome at our hearth.
Well,
We
all
look
the more
forward to
reason
it.
to not die.
Precisely.
Add it to the list. Well, thank you, Word Painter.
Yeah.
Yes, very well. We are giving to Twisted Limb what we can. He should have his own tent and rations to last him. We shall walk through the night. We know the way well, and anything would be foolish to try and stop us. I would say look after Twisted Limb, but he's fine.
We'll take good care of your man.
I think he'll take good care of us.
I think you may be right. I didn't want to insult your prowess, but
Oh, Lord knows we're in over our heads.
At this point, Fletch will speak up and say to Word Painter, sorry, if I may, can I have a moment of your time?
of course. I thought it would be only natural for us to at least exchange traditional greetings. Come with me. And he sort of just steps a short distance. We're not too far from the tents, of course, with the weather, but he steps a short distance away until you are secluded.
Okay. So at this point, I'll start speaking to him in Giant. And I'll say, I apologize for my quietness when you first arrived. I wasn't sure if I wanted to ask or if I even wanted to know. I'm from the Dale myself. In fact, I'm a member of, or I was a member of a tribe, the Stone Knuckles. I was just wanting to know if you knew if they still existed. I left them several years ago when they were under the leadership of Thunder Eye. I will just say there were differences between us.
Yes, they still exist. You'll be pleased to know, but I'm afraid to say largely they seem scattered to the winds. Last I heard, Thunder Eye led a not insignificant warband against many. I'm sorry, my friend, that I tell you like this, that your clan has been reduced to little more than raiders. But I'm sure there are many of you out there who would see it changed.
Did any of my clan join yourselves or anyone else, do you know? Or
With this, he seems to furrow his brow and he goes, I am mostly, and so gestures around, he goes, mostly a tracker and a hunter for my clan, but we do have people come and go. Come visit us in Wormdoom Crag. With Twisted Limb or Fearless, they should be able to guide you there. Should that happen, come find me. When I return, I shall ask around for any members of the Stone Knuckles. Perhaps I will find something. Perhaps I will not, but you helped us, so I will help you.
Thank you, Word Painter. I appreciate it, and I'll extend my hand.
Yeah, he clasps your hand strongly and shakes it and says, yes, I am comforted leaving our friend with you, knowing that you are in this party. Thank you.
I'll just head back to the rest of the camp.
You guys head back to the group.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie wouldn't be doing anything specific, just kind of getting ready for camp bed.
All right, anybody else want to do anything? The Goliaths seem to be sort of packing up and getting ready to head out and saying farewell to Twisted Limb for now. And you guys just sort of bedding down for the rest of the night?
Oh, we should probably set a
staring.
watch.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody should stay up.
I'm just
I'll
staring
take
at
the
the size of this dude. He's just like freaking enormous. I'm intimidated.
When you say you'll take the first watch, Fletch, Twisted Limb rises from where he's sitting and goes, I will stand with, or at least as long as my eyes remain open.
I'll grab second watch.
Third.
Fourth.
How many watches do we need?
I don't know.
Oh, that
Depends on how long you
I
do
mean,
your
I
watch
split
for.
them up. It's
Full
fine.
night's sleep for Darmok, yay!
I will join Izar for the second watch.
Okay, so as you guys set out your watch order and start to bed down, we'll take a break there so we can go and grab a drink, go to the loo, etc. And yeah, we'll reconvene in like 5 or 10 minutes. Welcome back. Not that you've been anywhere, but we took a break, so welcome back, everyone. You guys are just settling down for the night and beginning to take watches. Now, I believe first watch was Fletch.
And
Fletch and
Twisted Limb is
Limb.
joining, of course, and Fletch. Okay, so the rest of you kind of bed down in your tents, you know, doing what you can to keep out the stinging winds, whereas you, Fletch, find yourself stood next to the imposing form of Twisted Limb as he rests on the haft of his axe embedded in the snow, just staring out into the distance. Is there anything you'd like to say to him, or are you going to silently watch along?
I guess I would just be asking for stories like from his past, but I don't want. We don't need to role play it out. You know what I mean? Just making small talk about being a Goliath in Icewind Dale.
It's actually partway through. He goes, "Word Painter didn't tell me names. What is your name?"
Fletch.
Fletch. You are good with a bow.
Hence the name, yes.
How good?
I would say pretty good.
Tell me a story of how good with a bow you are, Fletch, to pass the time.
Well, one time, me and some of my clan were out hunting, and at a certain point we were beset by a pack of wolves, ferocious beasts, almost 24 of them, and only 3 of us. And I single-handedly brought down 20 of them, all with me bow. I am lying with that, so I don't know if you want me to roll a deception check.
Well, no, roll a performance check.
Okay.
Ooh. Perform.
An 8.
An 8. You hear a deep rumbling scoff come from Twisted Limb, and he goes, a fine tale indeed. Perhaps one with a little bit of the bardic touch. But I do not doubt you earned your name, Fletch. Where are you from?
Well, like I said, I'm from Icewind Dale, out east in the mountains there. I was a member of the Stone Knuckle tribe.
And with this, he furrows his brow, similar to Word Painted, and he goes, Stone Knuckle's a sad tale, reduced to honorless dogs by ill leadership. Where were you when they rose up?
I had left a long time ago before that happened.
Do you hope to return one day?
I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. I've been happy enough in 10 towns away from it all. But at times I do miss the simpler life, I guess. But I'm not sure if I'm nostalgic for a time rather than a place that I can return to. The clan I knew when I was younger is long gone, and I don't think I can recapture it.
And with this, the towering figure next to you turns his head down to look you in the eye, and as you look up to him, you see that despite his incredibly imposing stature and appearance, there's almost a softness in his eye, a sort of a kindness, or at least a consideration. And he goes, one can never truly leave home, Fletch. And he puts his great big meaty hand on your shoulder and gives it a squeeze before returning it to his axe and looking out into the snow.
All right. I won't reply. I'll just continue quietly.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like he's expecting a response. He just looks back out into the storms until your time to end your watch comes, and he goes, you should sleep. I will get the next one. Remind me, which was it?
I think there was supposed to be 2 on the next one, Dorothea and Izar.
Izar and...
Darmok.
Yeah.
That's right. I'll just wake up Izar if you're staying up. So I will do that. I will just wake up Izar.
So Izar, you see, of course, Fletch kind of shake your tent and tell you that it's your time to hold watch. And as you emerge out, the towering form of Twisted Limb is there, staring out into the snow. He doesn't seem to turn to kind of acknowledge your presence or anything, but what would you like to do, if anything?
I'm gonna go wake Darmok as well.
Could have given her a good.
So similar, Darmok, you kind of emerge out of your tent and just see the statuesque figure of Twisted Limb holding watch.
My friend, your watch with Fletch is over. If you would like to get shut-eye.
With this, he turns back around to you and goes, I am fine. I intend no rest until my friend is found.
Could I convince you that resting would make the strength of the party that much higher, such that we have a higher chance of getting your friend back? There are two of us.
Roll persuasion. Why not?
12.
With a
My rolls
12,
are garbage. Wait,
he...
one sec. What does this say again?
Are you thinking of using Dark One's luck?
No,
What's it called? Dark One's blessing? Dark One's luck? Something like that?
no.
I don't like that he has an ability named.
What is this fucking?
Don't worry about it.
When the wearer fails an ability check, they can add a D4 to the roll, potentially turning the roll into a success.
Okay.
I
Potentially.
am going to utilize my talisman and roll a single D4. I
Nice.
added a 1. It's 13. Woo!
With that, with your talisman barely twinkling in the gloom of the blizzard, you see the giant lower his head towards you and he simply goes, Perhaps there is wisdom in your words. Very well. And he heads off to the small tent that was left behind by the others and climbs inside to rest. And then it is you and Darmok on watch.
I did it. Yay.
Now, I would like one of you to make me a perception roll with advantage, because there's two of you. Who would like to do that?
It looks like we both have very bad
Don't all
scores.
volunteer at once.
Oh, I'll do it.
You know what?
Hey, that's
Unnatural
not bad.
20.
Unnatural 20. All right, so who was that? Isa, you stare out, peering into this swirl of, dark blues and grays as they go by you in the nighttime, and you can't really see anything out there for a while until towards the end of your watch, to both you and Darmok, you begin to see something. It's something approaching you from the same way that the Goliaths did, and it's hard to tell what it is. It may be a lantern in the gloom, or perhaps a torch. There's a light source moving towards you ever so slowly from a distance.
Hey, Darmok, you see that?
I'm going to cast my divine sense to see
Ooh.
if I can.
Could you
Sense
read me the
anything.
exact wording on Divine Sense, please?
Yes. Says, until your next turn, you know the location of any celestial fiend or undead within 60 feet of you that is not behind total cover.
So I will say this is at quite a distance. Are you wanting to wait until it gets closer to cast
Oh,
that?
it's okay.
So 60 feet range.
Yeah, if we can get, if it's between 60 feet, then I will
Sure.
cast it.
So
Well,
the
before-
light source
before that-
is...
Darmok, do you have one of those 2 orbs that we received?
The
Also,
orbs?
can you throw well?
The drift globes that were given to you by Ronaldo.
Oh, I do. And yes, I have a decent arm on me. Like, go up and I show him like the guns.
What do you think? What do you think about?
Darmok attempts to show you completely plate-armored biceps in a very futile gesture.
What do you think? Here, bear with me. What do you think about turning that on and quickly yeeting it over? I mean, chucking it over. I use it in my real vocabulary. I'm sorry. And then chucking it over towards the light.
Well, we're in darkness, so I don't want to draw attention if it's something that's not good. I'd rather wait to see if I can sense what it might be, and then maybe we can try it after. But I don't want to draw its attention to our area if it's just passing by.
Okay. I guess we'll see what direction it's kind of headed in,
So
and if it gets too
It
close,
is all
we're
this
gonna-
time approaching closer to you, and it does appear to be on a direct path to you. It's also very, very bright. Whatever this light source is, it's a powerful light source. You can see that it is now in the gloom and the mists. It is kind of emanating almost like an aura of light around it, because it is a very, very bright light source that appears to be getting closer. Would you like to do anything? We'll say now that by your estimation, in case you do want to use your divine sense,
I do.
it's like, yeah, like 50, 60 feet out. So we'll say that you wait for it to get a bit closer, and it does appear to be the shape of a person, perhaps carrying some sort of light sense. And then, so are you using your divine sense? Sorry.
I am using my divine
Okay.
sense.
So you kind of invoke that edge of awareness that's always at the periphery of your senses to try and get a handle on what this thing is. And it almost pulses out from you as a semi-visible aura to you, which when it collides with this moving figure, it emanates an aura of bone-chillingly pure evil. This is unlike, and this is an ability that is fairly new to you.
Mm-hmm.
But even in your short span of utilizing some of the divine gifts bestowed upon you, this feels like an evil unlike anything it has encountered before.
Ruh-roh.
It says you know the type.
It's undead.
It's undead. Okay.
Is this a wake the others a moment?
Yeah.
What?
Izar, it is an undead and quite evil. Please wake
Oh,
out the others.
fudge.
I will
All right.
stand right here.
I am going first. I'm getting twisted arm.
Nice.
That is my first person I'm waking up, followed
Make
by
me
Fletch.
well, Darmok, while Izar is waking the others, could you make me like an Arcana check?
Oh boy.
14.
14.
Okay, yeah, 14. I would say, obviously, you don't understand the intricacies of arcane magic, or really even have an in-depth knowledge into spellcasting, but just that pure divine instinct that you possess. This is a creature giving you a similar sense to what you got from Sefek when you fought and killed him.
Oh boy. Okay. Very bad. Hurry, Izar.
So everybody else, you wake up to Izar urgently shaking you awake and beckoning you out of your tents.
I will give a very short synopsis of evil undead approaching.
Okay. Izar informs you that there is evil dead on the way. Grab your chainsaws. And
This is my boomstick.
yeah. And you guys look south to see that the glow in the air is expanding, and this thing is kicking out an intense, like almost like a brilliant white blue light. And it's getting closer and closer. And you guys can now sort of make out that it is a figure of whom appears to be the source of the light itself. Wherever its head seems to swivel, it's almost as though a beam of light follows, as though it was a searchlight or a torch. And it's getting closer and closer until all of a sudden it stands about, it's hard to tell, but about 20 or 30 feet out from your camp, staring towards you.
And I can see that is a creature.
Yeah, I mean, you can't see what the creature is, but you can more see that it's like a singular form of a person, if that makes sense.
What I'm going for is, would I be able to use spells that target creatures?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. I would like to.
Is everyone awake now? Like around us?
Yes.
Okay.
Twisted Limb has come to stand behind you all, towering over from the back line, staring out towards the light source.
Prepare for combat, my friends.
Command doesn't affect undead, dude. No.
I would like to cast Guiding Bolt.
Oh, I'm so sad.
All right, well, as you all appear to be sort of, girding for combat and beginning to cast, the creature snaps into action, running towards you. And
Oh,
at that
dear.
point, let's
I
roll
run
some
at it.
initiatives.
I run at it.
All right, let me put you on the combat map, which I've updated the campaign and lost everything. Yeah, there we go. All right, so you guys
Still not
should
there.
be able to see the
we go.
combat map.
Yes. Look, it's
And,
a cold light walker.
because you guys did make a new friend, let me just add Twisted Limb onto the board.
Yay.
I hope Twisted Limb looks awesome.
There is Twisted Limb.
Nice.
All right, so he is marked as an enemy, but ignore that. So
Maybe another time.
let's open the turn timer. I'm probably gonna have to clear this. Yes, I am.
I rolled an
So, yeah,
11.
roll your initiatives when you're welcome. Feel free to read them out as well.
I rolled a 12.
Oh, I didn't click my thing. Whoops.
Good
I
job.
rolled a 19.
Nat 20. Woo! Which is also
At
19.
19.
So Twisted Limb rolled a 15, and
There we go.
our new friend rolled a natural 20. Oh,
Oof.
I thought I rolled really
I
well
did-
this time.
I did not select it. That's my fault.
Comparatively.
there are 2 Darmoks on the board.
Oh. Oh, whoops. Sorry. I didn't realize you put it on.
Just a
Cast
little.
mirror image.
All right.
Are we all in? We're all in, right? Nope.
This Starmark can go.
I think we're missing someone.
It's me.
It's Dharma.
Oh.
14.
14. All right. So, top of the round. It is the turn of this mysterious being who has ran towards you. And you can now see that this is almost like a traveler or just like a townsperson, similar to one you would have seen in Bryn Shander or East Haven. But where its body would be, there is just brilliant light pouring out of its clothes. This thing is wearing shabby, nowhere near appropriate for the level of cold currently. And it is most unnatural before your eyes. You can't see how this thing is even holding itself up when it seems to be composed purely of light and snow, essentially. And it is going to run towards the group, raise a hand, and blast a beam of cold at you, Fletch. Why not? You're at the bottom. You can have
I
it.
don't want to get blasted.
Don't get blasted.
That is for a 5. So this beam, you just managed to dodge in time, but you can feel like the crispness of the air as it whips past your face. And then it raises its other hand and fires towards Izar, who's behind you, with a 21 to hit.
Yep.
All right. And that is going to be... oh my god, the roll. That
Does he
is
have-
going to be for 29 points of cold damage.
Holy shit.
As the beam slams into you, and you can just feel it try to wrest the life away
How
from your
does Hellish
body.
Rebuke work?
Oh, crap.
Well, if you read the spell, it explains
Right.
the spell.
I guess
Are you down?
Yes.
Then you can't use a reaction.
Okay.
Okay.
Cute.
Once
So,
again, goodbye.
You see
everybody.
this beam of cold slam into Izar, and his body
Bye.
just lock up and fall backwards into the snow. Fletch, you're up.
Okay, I will attempt to shoot it with my bow. For a 19.
19 certainly hits.
Okay, I'm also going to use one of my. I'm going to burn a superiority die, and I'm going to go for a distracting strike. So first things first. I just roll the damage normally for the longbow, so it's 8 piercing damage.
Okay.
Then I also add a D8 to the roll, so if you just bear with me.
Okie dokie.
So at 6 from that, so it's a total of 14 piercing damage. And the next attack against the creature has advantage if it's made before my next turn.
Okay.
So whoever attacks it next has advantage.
All right. Anything else?
I guess I'll just try and stand over. Like I'll shuffle back a little bit just so I'm kind of on top of in front of Izar, maybe protective a bit. That
Okay,
ends
sure.
my turn.
All right. Dorothea, you're up next.
All right. So I'm going to move over to our dear downed companion,
Okay.
if I can. There-ish. I'm going to cast Healing Word. No, sorry.
Praise the sun.
Cure Wounds. Cure Wounds. I want to do that one. That's my
Okay.
action. Da, 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 da. Cure Wounds. First level. Ugh. 3. Sorry.
Great healing.
I'll take it.
Hey,
But
Izar, you return back to life with just a little bit of a frostbitten chest.
Just quick thing though.
happening every fight?
I don't know. You look hittable, I guess. My Disciple of Life thing from my class life domain thing. Whenever you use a spell at first level to restore hit points to a creature, the creature regains additional hit points equal to 2 plus the spell's level. So extra 3.
Nice.
Extra 3.
Extra 3.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. And then for my bonus action, I'd like to... I can't send out my spiritual weapon, can I?
Can't cast
No.
two spells in one turn.
Nope.
Yeah.
Damn it! I hate that. Okay, when can I do not that? Anyway, that'll be my turn then.
Okay. So, Twisted Limb, he sees Izar fall and he seems to become furious upon witnessing this. And he, without a thought in the world, almost like very forcefully but considerately brushes you aside, Dorothea, as he charges, heaving his axe onto his shoulder right into the face of
If
this
there was
strange
ever
being.
somebody I wanted advantage on,
Yeah.
it would be this guy.
And Twisted Limb is going to just, like, sort of as part of his stride, heave the axe off and just try to smash this thing in half. And he gets a 20 to hit.
Ooh.
And that deals 10 points of slashing damage. So I'll just mark that. And then he brings his axe back up again as part of both a strike and resting it once again on his shoulder. And he deals... Okay, that's just an 11 to hit with that. It was only the first attack that got advantage, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so he cuts a huge rend in this thing's clothing, and you can see this light, much like from Fletcher's arrow hole in it, sort of spill out, almost like the sun through a small hole in a wall. It just beams outwards from this great rend he's cut. But other than that, there's no real reaction from the creature whatsoever as it manages to just get out the way of the second strike. Darmok, you're up.
Okay. So I am going to move up, and right in the way is just building like a wall. And I'm going to actually use Guiding Bolt. I know it's like a long thing, but I want to do it. So let's see. Cast at level 1. Oh,
Well, if it's a ranged spell,
You probably don't want to be in melee
Wanna
range
be-
to do that. I'll let you move yourself back because you did move in
okay.
this turn. But
sorry. Yeah. So
You
I'll
could-
be
okay.
like right there.
that works. Cool.
Okay. It says a flash of light streaks in the creature, and then on a hit, the target takes 4d6
It does.
radiant. Okay.
Big damage.
So roll its attack.
Okay. 9.
Nope, that's damage. You roll damage.
Oh, I rolled damage.
Yeah, you want to click it in your attacks list and roll 20, and then it'll roll. So on your main page, you should have Guiding Bolt as an attack. And if you click that, it'll roll the spell.
On spells.
No,
No,
not on
um,
spells. No. On your main bit, scroll down to like where your sword attack is. You should have one that says Guiding Bolt.
Hopefully.
Yeah, in the
oh,
attacks and spellcasting box.
I apologize for this.
It's okay. I'm gonna open your sheet and show you where
Okay.
it is. All right. So I've got control
This
of
is
your
the
sheet
first
now.
time using the. Okay.
So you see on your character sheet, you
Uh-huh.
see where you've got hit dice and death saves. Oh, you don't have it in there because you haven't added it as a spell.
Yeah, I think
Aha.
So
that
it's,
was. So I have it like.
D20 plus spell attack bonus, whatever it says on your spell sheet.
Yeah, I'm just adding it quickly for her.
Okay, thank you.
That's
I was
all right.
trying to figure it out.
All right. So there you go. I've now added it, so you should. There you go. It's in there now. So if you click Guiding Bolt in there now,
Guiding Bolt there. Okay,
should
so
roll
I'll
the
just
spell.
redo this.
yeah, just read it.
essentially.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's cool.
All right. So I will move here and cast Guiding Bolt.
Sounds good.
12.
12 hits.
Ooh.
Hey, really?
Hey.
Nice.
Hey.
Glass cannon.
For 19 radiant.
What?
Holy
Much
nuts.
better than 9.
Oh. All right. Yeah, I mean, your Guiding Bolt just slams into this thing, and you can see the divine energy almost like burn away a huge swathe of the cloth that's covering its chest. And again, it's like another spotlight just beams out of the hole it left behind as it's left coated in this like crackling divine energy.
Jeez.
You definitely did some damage. I'll say that much.
And that'll be my turn.
Alrighty. Izar, you actually get to take a turn. Way.
I'm so sick of you dang imp monsters hitting me and knocking me out in the first round.
You know, I just wrote a note like, hit Izar again.
I shall move down, and I'm going to cast a Scorching Ray at this ugly monster.
Zap.
And shouldn't Izar have advantage as well from the guiding bolt?
On the first attack, yes, I believe. Or isn't it's just the first one, right? The next attack, yes. So your first ray has advantage.
That helps.
Oh, they're all separate.
It didn't help.
I forgot they're all separate.
Scorching
Yeah,
rays
they're
separate,
it's 3 attacks, yeah.
I
Okay,
got a
your
9,
second and your third hit.
Yeah.
22 and a
on
15.
those, boop, and boop.
All
16
right.
total damage.
So this time you burn away part of the hood that's covering the top of this creature's head, and the light beams straight upwards in this solid beam and disappears into the murk above. But this thing is looking very tattered, and you begin to see the faintest hint of the light beginning to flicker.
Good, I hate you. And that's my turn.
Eddie!
Eddie.
Yep.
I cast Dark Vision. No.
Alright.
I am going to cast the best wizard spell ever. Magic Missile.
That's
Yes,
a fireball.
At second level.
the best spell in D&D. Let's go.
Whack. Really?
Is
Oh, that's
that
only
it?
1d4. All right. I don't know why I didn't double cast or cast it second. I'll just throw another d4 at it. Way. Great.
Well, that's one missile,
Isn't it-
John. You fire 4 at second level. Those are
Yes.
remember, magic missile is a guaranteed hit.
Yeah.
So you have to
Wait.
roll it 4 times because there's 4 missiles.
Oh dear lord.
So you've dealt 5 so far with 2.
5.
God, this didn't work the way I wanted it to.
John thought it was so cool. Gonna do
8.
the magic missile.
11.
All right, 8, 11. So you deal 11
Hey.
points of damage. Wait, no, John, you're just rolling d4s. Okay, you deal 14 points of damage because there's +1
Plus
on all of
3.
those.
Yep. Should have just pressed it a million times.
You
I'm
really
sorry.
should have.
All right. Sorry.
Anyway, John deals 14 points of damage as his magic missiles arc around the huge figure of Twisted Limb and go back in to hit this unusual being. And you can see with the impacts from multiple directions of the magic missile, this thing is all but tore apart. The light is beginning to flicker and falter and spill out of every wound you guys have caused on it. But for now, the creature still stands.
And I'll use my last 15 feet of movement to go here.
Okay. So, the unusual creature is going to swing out with its fists at Twisted Limb.
No.
And that is going to be the first one he rolls a 10. That certainly doesn't hit. The second one he rolls a 23. So, Twisted Limb manages to easily bat away this thing's right hook. And then its left hook comes in and hits him under the ribs. And you see almost like like a frost nova explode out of where the impact is, as Twisted Limb appears to recoil a little bit from the strike, but is most certainly still standing. All right. So whose turn? Wow, that thing hits like a truck. All right, so that is its turn. Fletch, you're back up.
All right, I'm gonna. Oh fuck it, yeah, I'll move into to melee range with it, and I'll start by giving him a whack with my longsword.
Do it.
20.
Hey.
That's 16 points of piercing
Jesus.
damage.
All right. Well,
Get stabbed.
Fletch, how would you like to tear this strange creature asunder?
I don't fucking know. It's made of light, man.
Take the batteries out. Yeah, you,
break the glow stick.
while Twisted Limb is sort of spinning away from this bizarre punch it delivered to him, you just cleave it in half, and the light spills out and falters. However, as the light spills out of this creature, it seems to coalesce above it for a moment, where a strange crystalline angular face forms and looks down at you all, and you see it appear to smirk somewhat. And you hear a voice ring out in your head. The lips don't move, but a voice rings out saying, "This is the doom that awaits you all. This is the fate of any who dare to claim what is mine. Behold my final light." And the light dissipates.
Was that Andros?
Uh,
No, so, okay, I was going to ask if we thought that thing was coming for us or just stumbled upon us. It's pretty clear it was coming for us. It didn't look like a Durgar like face shape though, right?
Mm-mm.
It
Looked like
didn't have oh, the face in the light.
Yeah.
No, it looked like just an angular, bizarre, crystalline face. Certainly not that of a Duragar by no means.
Yeah.
Do we think this is affiliated? Wait. It's the corpse is just like a pile of clothes on the floor.
Would you like to take a look at it?
Yeah. Essentially, I want to see if there's any
Flavor.
chartline in that one too, since the
Whoa.
other
Okay.
undead.
So after you take a look at the corpse, which has been bisected by Fletcher's swing, you see that actually there is a frozen, desiccated body under it. One whose face is contorted, screaming in pain, and appears to be that of a human who died some time ago.
I'm
Reminds
surprised
me
you're
of
touching it,
Sephic.
Izar.
Oh, come on. You think I'm touching this with my hands? No, I'm obviously using my staff. Come on. I don't get my hands dirty for anything.
So, can we all agree that's oral or one of their bitters or people?
Aye. It's got her handiwork written all over it, I'd say.
While I was on watch, as it was coming closer, I sensed it briefly before I woke all of you, and it had the nastiest, evil sense. It's very similar to Sephic. So I would only assume it's her handiwork.
Great, so now we got two problems to deal with, eh?
I guess she firmly has her eyes on us now.
For sure.
But like, is she working with the Durgar then? It came from the south, right?
Yes.
Slowly looking all around. Great. No. So it came from that direction, and it made it seem like it knows our current task. But what would that have to gain from having the Dale get Durgar?
Durgard.
New verb.
Durgar.
Durgar.
That's the Durgar burger.
I think it was just someone who might have fallen near here, and she was just trying to slow us down.
Scare us off. So clearly, whatever we're doing is important.
So, any else of you kind of actually looking at the bodies, not just poking it with a staff like Izar did?
I will look at the bodies. I will touch
Okay.
it.
Make me an investigation check.
Make
Okay.
me a touch check.
Poke, poke.
It's a 4.
Jeez Louise.
Okay, so you kind of have a look at the body and check the pockets and rootle around a little bit. I will say you don't recognize what it is, but you do find a tattoo of some form of crest on its chest.
There seems to be a tattoo here. Does anyone recognize this symbol?
So you all look at it, and it is a shield symbol with a sheaf of wheat with antlers coming out the top of it. And Dorothy, I would say you don't need to roll for this. You would be absolutely aware that is the crest of Bryn Shander.
Yeah, I was about to say we should all recognize that one.
Yeah.
Okay, you actually knew it was. There you go. Bonus points.
That's the crest of Bryn Shander. So
Quite a ways away.
yeah, very far from home. Assuming that the crest is like, yeah, this is my country, more my town. Woo. Assuming.
It would certainly seem that way. I mean,
Yeah.
you would have seen them on members of the Guard, for
Mm.
instance, who are very proud of their service, etc.
All right.
Oh, I thought it was the symbol for their hockey team.
The Bryn
Ice
Shanders.
hockey.
Yeah.
So what is he doing all the way out here? Do you think he followed us?
I imagine
I
it
think
was
that-
probably sent by the Frost Maiden.
If we're talking about the vessel, I feel like the vessel has probably been out here for a while.
Do I recognize this guy by any off chance? Or is he too like distorted?
Oh, make me a perception check.
All right. 1 sec. perception. Boop. Hello.
Huh?
Did it roll?
Wait, where did
There
the
you
roll
go.
go?
17.
Okay. Yeah. You aren't sure, but this guy definitely looks like he could have been a Bryn Shander guardsman.
Oh, hang on a second. I think I recognize this guy. Sure, I've seen him around town, just like, you know, as part of the guard. I'm not 100% sure, but it certainly looks like it.
And at this, Twisted Limb speaks up behind you and goes, I heard they raffle those to the Frost Maiden. Sacrifices of flesh and blood. Perhaps he was one of the unlucky ones.
Perhaps.
Wait, did we hear about that?
The first thing we did.
Very first episode.
Right, of course.
He seems to have.
in 2 weeks' time, or whatever he said.
Alright, so we're doing these raffles in Bryn Shander. It's supposed to make the Frost Maiden go away, but we're actually just giving her corpses to play with.
Making it
Lovely.
Mhm. And he seems to have been in extreme pain before his death.
Hey, Twisted Arm. I'm relatively
Twisted
new.
Limb.
But, you know, for what it's worth, absolutely makes sense for Izar to forget his name. I've not been up here in the Dale for long. How long do you know that something like this has been going on potentially?
I do not live in 10 towns. Merely heard rumors from traders and my brethren.
I really
As
hope
for
it
the
hasn't been
winter,
long.
months. We live a
So-
simple life. We do not pass the time in the same way as others.
Okay, so Dorothea,
Aye.
I can't remember essentially anything. How often do they hold raffles in Branchander?
What is it, like every week or every month?
Every week.
Okay,
Every
so it's
week.
every week. And let's say this started immediately after the.
Started
the
about just because you know Dorothea. It started about a month. So about a couple of months it's been going.
Is there any, like, you know, exclusion if you're a valid or a vitally important person?
So officially, only the speakers are excluded. However, there are many, many rumors that one may purchase immunity to said raffle if one has the money and influence to do so.
Okay.
Hmm.
So it seems that it's unlikely that the count of freely given corpses is too high. However, that doesn't include any of the corpses likely that she has claimed from the winter claiming. People just dying out in the snow.
Right.
No idea how many that could be.
Well, I'm hoping the fact that she's only sent one after us means that she doesn't have that many to spare, but, you
So
know, people
far.
die out there all the time. Oy.
I think it may be wise to finish our rest quickly and make haste southward.
Aye.
Well, she has one less now, and we have a job to do. So we should get on it.
Agreed.
All right, so you're returning to your rest.
If we can rest, yes.
please.
All right. So you guys finish up your long rest. We'll say it passes without incident, you taking your watches, until eventually you wake to see that mostly the blizzard has passed. The sky is still gloomy and murky, but the winds have died down somewhat, and there's no longer a sense of imminent danger from the cold at any time. You guys going to continue heading south?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So you guys head south, Twisted Limb almost naturally leading the way, just because he's been around these parts a few times before, until eventually you reach where the terrain begins to change a little bit. You can feel it's not just pure snow and ice underfoot, but in fact, you start reaching some rocky foothills and begin to see a few outcroppings of the hardiest trees the Dale has to offer, just surviving the winter, peeking out of the snow. Other than that, you continue onwards until the mountains that make up the beginning of the spine of the world become clearer and clearer. You head into a sort of a canyon created by two of them naturally, still trouncing through the snow and the occasional uptick of the gale, but it's far easier going than it was yesterday. You head further and further into this canyon until a natural bend brings you around to being mostly faced by a whole outcrop of the mountains before you. There's no real visible way through. However, one of the most immediate things that catches your eye is the huge dark stone gates hewn out of the rock of one of the mountain faces facing you. A narrow, wending path appears to lead up to them, but the gates themselves are imposing even from such a distance. They're likely 500 or 600 meters out in front of you still. But you can see they are plain, with no real time or love spent on artisanry. They are undeniably an imposing obstacle. There's still the wide open canyon and the beginning of the path in front of you to wind your way up to the gates. What would you like to do?
I'm willing to bet that it's a terrible idea to just walk through there, considering the fact that it's an enclosed space, and I feel like the Durgar likely have posts.
Well, is there an alternate route?
I don't know. I don't belong here.
Gimli runs up. Oh, my cousin's got a mine.
Hey, got him.
I'm mine.
What would you like to do? Were you asking Twisted Limb if there's an alternate route?
I guess so, yeah. I mean, I was just asking out loud, so I don't know if he would want to answer.
Yeah, he looks over his shoulder and he goes, I do not deal with that dark place. They call it Sunblight.
Well,
I do not know if there are any other routes in, but we hunt in these grounds fairly often. Rarely do we see any of those who live under.
well, Sunblight's where we got to go to see if we can find this supposed dragon.
The thing of it is we could spend ages looking for another cavern or entrance or something like that. This is a big range of mountains. I don't think we have the time.
I say we go in and see what happens.
Oh, I hate seeing what happens.
Battle of Helm's Deep time. Let's go.
When you say that, when you say this, Darmok, Twisted Limb turns around and he goes, are you so certain that they will attack you on sight? This is... And he sort of spits on the ground a little bit and looks openly disgusted. This is a home of sorts to them.
Well, they want to protect it, I assume.
But perhaps we do not approach as conquerors. Merely visitors.
I'm going to take off my Chardlin amulet and put it in my pocket and suggest anyone else openly wearing the jewelry to do the same.
I very much doubt that if we show up as visitors that they will let us see their Chardlin dragon that they are making to destroy everyone like us.
When you say Chardlin dragon, his eyebrows raise once again and he goes, Even if they do not let us see it, that is a great and mighty fortress. There must be all kinds of tradesmen and craftsmen inside. But I will go with whatever you decide. Be it axe or otherwise. I will follow.
Well, you know, there's only so many of us, and I don't know how many of them. Thousands, most like. We could pose as traders. Be like, hey, look, we've got some stuff. You want to trade us for something? Maybe they'll let us in. Who knows? I don't know. I don't think we can just go barging in there and being like, hey, we heard you got a dragon. Could you not kill us all, please?
Perhaps, and again, just a thought. If it comes to that point, I agree. I think we should do some type of trader, commerce, something. Many of us do have Chardlin to trade.
Aye.
If it's so well sought after, perhaps they're willing to bargain for us.
And what if they ask us how we know that they're looking for it?
Well, we can just give them a bunch of options and be like, hey, look, and see if they pick it. We don't have to say specifically we'd
we-
like to trade you for Shadlin.
Yeah, we also don't need to chartle it at all. Just more so something we have in our packs.
Well,
as a story.
they may wonder what we have the Chardlin amulets, I guess. So if they needed to see proof that we have things to trade, there it is. But if we say we have, precious ores or something, they're not going to believe us if we don't have it.
We do have some gems.
You have some gems.
I mean, I'm just going off what I got in my inventory.
Well, they say trust your instincts. So what do you guys think? Just go in?
Aye.
Let's
Yeah,
be
sure.
civil.
If we fail, I just have to turn into some sort of devil. That's fine.
Oh, you'll be fine. Just stop.
Stay behind me, my friend.
Just stop dying all the time.
I'm gonna stay behind everybody. They can't hit what they can't see.
Hey.
All right,
So
so
it's
you guys gonna make your way up the sort of the narrow, winding path cut into the mountain to
Mhm.
approach the great gates. Okay, so you do so, and as you do see that there are many sort of worn grooves that must be tracks and carts and all sorts making their way up to the fortress. And as you approach, the hewn gates only become all the more imposing. Although this time, now that you're closer, you can see that there is another section at the top of the doors themselves. It almost appears as though a wall of pure ice is set into a reset, split in the middle as though it can slide apart to allow some sort of great airship or vehicle in and out of the fortress. As you begin to make your way up the winding path, you begin to near the entrance itself. Of course, as is often the case with fortress walls, there is a smaller door cut into the great doors themselves that appears to have a guard post jutting out of it with a small slit to keep an eye on any who approach. What would you like to do? We'll say that you're just before, like, where the guard post would see you reasonably.
Is there any way, like, around, or is the door the only thing that we can get to?
Unless you can walk through mountain, no.
Anyone got mountain walk? Oh, okay.
I mean, you're the. I recognize the difference between Darmok and other dragon kind, and of course, there's a difference between myself and other infernal kind. And I recognize there's a difference between yourself and other dwarven kind. But you are the closest to them, so I suggest you do the talking.
While Izai is musing on the diversity of the races found in the Forgotten Realms.
Poorly.
Yeah, very fully. But while he does this, an unearthly noise begins to erupt from the top of the fortress doors. A great creaking as though the very veil of reality itself is tearing apart, and the huge ice walls begin to slide open. Steam and blinks of fire gasp out of the opening as you see a huge, shadowed, monstrous figure beat its wings for the first time
It's a dream.
as the shape begins to emerge from the now open hangar doors. And that's what will end the session for tonight.
You go-
Hey.
You guys, did we bite off more than we could chew?
We're running away.
Oh, we found the answer.
I don't think you can outrun
It is
dragon.
real. Job done. We
Okay,
don't even need to-
goodbye.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, we found it. Woo, let's go.
Okay, goodbye.
Where's the fast travel
Wait,
points?
wait. Can we have just like not come all the way here and just lied?
Yep. Probably. I mean,
Probably.
probably not.
We're not going to have proof anyway. We're boned. Game over, man. Game over.
Awesome.
So, I hope you enjoyed playing.
Yeah, that was
Thank
fun.
you guys so much for
Yeah.
playing. It was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
We'll pick it up next week, which is exciting to say. We don't have to wait too long.
Mhm.
Where you're going to have an interesting decision to make because where is that thing going? Who knows?
It's fine.
No.
This is fine.
It would be all right.
So, we'll see the party making their interesting decision next week. Thank you all so much for watching at home. If you have been, don't forget to leave a like, all that good stuff. And we'll leave it to Craig to say the stupid bye as is tradition. So, goodbye, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.